FYP Production.
She fell in love with the bad guy, but she loves my intentions. Nothing feels better than the moment we're sinning, no. Nothing feels better than the moment we're kissing. I say I'll love her for forever, in the morning forget her. She was raised under money, growing up she couldn't see the poor. Save my number in her phone under me or more. Look me in my eyes and ask what I need her for. So in this game of life, she just might keep a score. And darkness is clouding my judgment. Marijuana clouds cause the loud is so pungent. But me, I haven't touched a drug since that trade of white. I live my life before the fight like I'm Dana White. The block is hot like that boy band with Nick Lachey. Hold my heart in your hands like a Fabergé. Precious. We was young, dumb, and reckless, living like the devil couldn't catch us.
FYP.
Yeah. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the YSO podcast by you, for the youth, voice of the youth, Youth Speak Out podcast. It's your boy, Emmanuel Lyons, staying even. Down the line intros.
And it is your girl, Amber, CEO, and all that good stuff.
Hi, everybody. It's Ashton.
You know that, and we're back.
Yeah. So as you can see, for everybody tuning in, we are back in studio. You know what I mean? Yeah. Round of applause. Yeah. But we back in person. We had a itch to get back in studio and get that in-person vibe going. And thank God we've been able to. And first things first, before we get into the episode, you can see it on us, you know what I mean? Everybody let it be known. We dripped up and you speak out merch.
Yeah,
now.
Respect the drip, Karen.
Drip that hair right now. Oh, yeah, so as you can see, podcast merch. Everybody who wants themselves some You Speak Out merch, it is coming for sale soon. So get ready, get your wallets prepared to support a black business. Y'all understand? And
link will be in the bio.
Yes. And get yourself in some YSO gear. A nice little positive note to start this week out on. But this is part 2. So this is America. 2 weeks ago we was here doing this subject, and we talked so well and we had so much to talk about. But in the 2 weeks since that podcast, so much has happened. But then on top of that, at the end of it, everybody already wanted us to continue with another part. So here we are with This is America Part 2. And I want to start it off real quick with something that happened the weekend of our podcast, actually right here in our own city of Atlanta. So it's real close because at the time, of course, a lot of protests and everything were happening nationwide in every major city you could think of in all the states, of course, and then of course internationally as well. But we in Atlanta hadn't had a death that was really attributed recently, at least that is. We of course got the Ahmaud Arbery situation that happened, and that was in Georgia. But right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we had the murder of Rayshard Brooks. In a Wendy's parking lot over little to nothing. And that situation in itself was mired in controversy because you immediately had people trying to come to the defense of the officers because he fought back and because he got possession of the taser and XYZ and all of those details. But at the end of the day, the fact is that the police arrived on the situation with reports of a man sleeping in his vehicle in a Wendy's parking lot, which is a situation that at the beginning of it, you should never have to predict there will be a fatality. And then by the end of it, Rayshard Brooks was murdered. A woman lost her partner. Children lost their father. Some mothers lost their son. And we as a community of Black people in this very difficult time lost another one of our brothers. So I wanted to just kick it off with that because it happened so close, you know, and that's just a little review of what happened for those who don't know. But just first remarks, thoughts, emotions, whatever the case may be. Let's just dive right into it.
Frustrating because not even 48 or 24 hours before that, we were just talking about how we're talking about the Arbery situation, the Breonna Taylor situation, and all the situations that have happened prior to all the Black people that were murdered by police. And then here we have another Black person murdered by a police officer for basically no reason, because I feel like who cares that he fought back? He probably fought back because he feared for his life. So, I mean, and even if he did fight back, I don't think that was reason enough for him to lose his life. I think that they're not getting the message, because we're protesting police brutality, but yet we're still being brutalized by the police. So it's like, what do we have to do in order to get this through your heads? Like, it's just frustrating to me.
Personally, hearing you say those words, like, it's we've been protesting since before since Jim Crow. We've been protesting.
Mm-hmm.
We've been saying that this has been happening since we have been free. So I don't see I don't want to say I don't see change coming. I don't see change coming the way we're doing it, because we've been doing it. We've been doing it. There's nothing. This isn't new. You know, yes, it's. I don't think, like Ashley said 2 weeks ago, we wouldn't be out here doing it if it wasn't for Corona at the moment, because everybody's at home, so people can be out every day.
Right.
You feel me? That it's not a great thing to be in quarantine, but it is an added benefit as far as this, you know, stuff like this. But I feel like the means have to change. Like, at some point, it seems like they're trying to incite violence. Like, in my opinion, because it's no way that with the system that we have, you feel me, you're supposed to, the way the system is supposed to be. Because the system we have and the system that it's supposed to be is two different things. But, you know, if it was what they say it was, then I would understand protests and stuff going on. But it's not what it says it is. So I feel like we got to change it up, because it's obvious that they don't really care. They don't care. It's been 30 to 40 people that have been brutalized or murdered by police since the start of the protest, and almost countless arrests and whatever, people getting shot with rubber bullets and this, that. It's obvious. They don't care. They really don't. You know, and then no matter how much legislation or how much they paint streets Black Lives Matter, I don't care what they do. At this point, until something is changed, until somebody is fired, replaced, and structures change, it's nothing gonna happen. We're gonna be in this cycle to the day we die.
I mean, I feel like I'm assuming that you play that because we're kind of fighting from the bottom. Like, we don't have enough people who agree with our mindsets and how we feel in those positions of power to actually incite the change we want. I feel like I've been seeing people attack it from all fronts. Like, we've been protesting, boycotting places that are not supporting us. They burn buildings. Mm-hmm. They're like trying to go out and vote, but then we still have all the voter suppression going on. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we're doing as much as we can possibly do from the positions that we're in. And it's at this point, we're going to need the help from people who are in those higher positions to help us. And that's it. Because we can only do so much. I feel like we're bringing more awareness to it. People are posting, signing petitions, donating money, giving money to the families of the people that they lost. I'm like, what else can we do? It's not, I don't think it's anything to do with us. It's all to do with them. They just don't want to help us. They don't want to make the change. But we can still keep fighting for it.
Yeah. It's kind of it's crazy because listening, like everything you're saying, Drew, like it's right. You're right. We've been protesting since Jim Crow. Like we've been utilizing a lot of these methods for as long as we can and could because it was all we had. And I think a thing that I really realized over these past 2 weeks, I was on Twitter one day, and I just was a video of like the Rayshard Brooks situation was on my timeline, and I'd already seen the video, so I didn't go to watch it. I'm going to the replies, and I see like this one like black person like basically saying that it was illegal, legal like homicide or whatever. So I go to their page, right? Because clearly I'm like, okay, is this like someone who has a bad opinion one time, or is this a coon? And so I'll go to their page to see if it's a coon, and they have NRA in their bio, so it's a coon. So, but then I kept scrolling, and of course, because this person has these particular points of view, everything they're retweeting and liking, people they're communicating with share similar points of views. Excuse me, and you ever have an epiphany of something you already knew, but it's been so long since your mind had to like land on that realization that you like get to have an epiphany of it later. And this epiphany of what I already knew was there's a lot of racist people. And like, I think the problem is that people treat racists like some type of silent or like some type of loud minority, and they are the silent majority. Most white people are racist. Not only that, but beyond just the most white people who are racist, if you include the people who willingly, like as white people, want to benefit from the structure of oppression, like racist oppression, that's almost every last one. And I don't like that makes it seem like I'm saying like you can't find a good-hearted and good non-racist white person. No, of course you can. There's lots of people. I'm from New York City. Every day there's more than 1 million people living life. Like that's a lot of people. It's an unfathomable amount of people. If I told you to mentally picture 1 million people, your brain cannot do it. Like it would just like come up with large crowded images that it sees. You can't mentally fathom that many people. So there's a lot of people in the world. So when I say that there, if 56% of people were racist, that leaves a lot, and that's way lower than the percent that I think it is. But like that leaves a lot of non-racist people by the numbers. But the fact of the matter is, when you're dealing with the fact that majority of the people, not just people in power, the majority of the people either A, are so like blinded by their own choice of ignorance, because I feel like at this point, like, I definitely feel like if you're a white person, it's a choice, even though you've been set up to be ignorant to racism. Yeah, you've been set up from the jump to be ignorant to the racism in America, and so like to a degree, like it's understandable. But in these times, in the way things are operating right now, unless it's like a choice. We got the Amish at protests; they don't even have the
Exactly.
So you're definitely choosing. Right? But like when you really analyze, I just feel like when you really analyze how many people benefit from systematic oppression or are empowered by systematic oppression of Black people, specifically in America, it's almost ridiculous to think that change would come. To want change is not to want change, to like believe in change, right, is on a statistical basis a ridiculous thought. But so was abolishing slavery, and so was us like getting the Civil Rights Act and the end of Jim Crow. Like all of those things were also statistically like impossibilities. So it's not that change can't happen. It's just while we're fighting for it, it's always going to feel like it's the how, because the measures are so grand. We are talking about a system that has operated since before America. Slavery is older than America. When we were just colonies and people coming over, slavery was already being implemented. Specifically, slavery
goes back to biblical times.
Right, but and like so, and like America's not the first people to do slavery. It's just if you look
Prisoners of war
historically,
and building
probably
an
the
entire
best.
nation is two different things.
But
Because that's
but
usually
even
how you become a slave. You
When
capture.
anything's a
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like even just like old fashioned like steal someone and make them work for you slavery. Like America didn't America didn't patent it. America did what it does with everything else. It kind of saw ways, stole it, and made it seem like, yeah, we did that. But no, we didn't. But they did do it probably to one of the most effective, grand levels. And beyond just how long it's been, it's one, like racism is so one with America. They are the same thing. They are the same exact thing. In my eye, like America is racism. That is how much it is built. You cannot have anything that America has had as its identity without racism. And so we're talking about trying to upend and tackle and destroy and change and flip around. That's like, it's gonna take the world and then some. Like it's gonna take. And so of course I feel like we're, it's right to it's right to feel like we can't get there sometimes, but like we gotta keep going.
But I wanna ask a question because it's interesting that Andrew brought up this point that the only reason that people were coming out in waves how they were is because everybody was at home.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that if there was no coronavirus, oh yeah, okay, Ashley said that, but if you think you reiterated it. If you think there was no coronavirus and the murder of George Floyd happened the way it happened, do you think that people would have been out protesting the way they were?
Yes,
and then wait, I have another question. We see all of these companies donating to the different organizations for Black Lives Matter and such, but what is this money going to?
That's a good question.
Well,
That's a very good question.
It's a huge question because every time I get on Twitter, there's some new thread about how the people we've been giving our money to, we should not be giving our money to.
Right.
Sean King, Black Lives. I mean, yeah, people
to.
should have never been giving Sean King money. But Sean King.
That is a white. That is a white gentleman.
It's mired in so much controversy. No one is like, you're white, right?
He is highly respected in the Black community.
So is Denzel Washington. Nobody's giving Denzel money.
He's the same. They looking for movement to happen. They looking for things.
But also, if we're really analyzing it, whiteness.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I don't want to go on because there's been so much controversy. I don't want to go on the record saying Sean King is white, but I've never seen anything proving Sean King is not white, so, or proving he's black. So we can leave that.
Genealogy show.
That's all that. It's like the guy's name, the actor.
Underwood.
Grey's Anatomy.
No.
Jesse,
That's juicy. That's juicy.
The light skin homie with the eyes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Huh? Yeah, he made.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
But he's
Yeah. But don't forget the question though.
Oh, the question. My first question. My first question. Yes, it would have been out there, but it would have been like Ferguson. It would have been like a week and a half.
Yeah.
Everybody
goes home.
And I don't think it would have been like we wouldn't have seen it like every single state in other countries.
Right.
It would have been.
Exactly.
It definitely would have been Minnesota and like California, and maybe
major cities.
Yeah, maybe Atlanta. Maybe.
Yeah.
But
I think Louisville would have stepped just because they've been fed up with Breonna Taylor too.
yeah,
Right.
But
it's crazy to think that she died before.
Yeah.
George Floyd.
She died before George Floyd,
That's
and I think
crazy.
Ahmaud Arbery.
That's
It's
crazy.
been
My argument,
I saw it today. It's been like 109 days.
Yeah.
And the fact that
You
died.
got Elijah McClain that was
We're gonna
killed
get to
last
that.
year.
Yeah.
And he's just getting exposure because of everything that's happening now. Okay.
But no, yeah, I definitely agree that, we would have stepped, but it wouldn't have been stepping the way that it was, and it wouldn't have had the impact that it did. My question is, now a lot of people have been like feeling like we're getting to our first like stretch of fatigue or burnout, if you will.
Mhm.
People are saying their timelines are going back to normal. I don't know who they follow because my timeline stay jumping with the blackness. But regardless, people are saying their timelines are going back to normal. I know like Atlanta had a protest every day for like 3 weeks, and now like they're like maybe like a day where there's no protest, and then like we're back to protesting or whatever. So my question is, do y'all think that we're like really hitting a place of burnout or fatigue where we're already slowing up our momentum, or do y'all not really subscribe to that thought, and you think we're still 10 toes to the walls?
I think everybody's spirit is still in it. As far as actually, we're opening back up, so people are going back to work.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be just standing out on the street for hours on end throughout the week. So I don't think it's that we're experiencing fatigue. I think it's the real world setting back in, and like, you know, people are slowly, because people have been wanting to go back to normal. So like, even though this is going on, when you get that taste of going back to normal, it's almost like I want to do that, even though I'm still going to focus on this. I want to go back to how things were, even though I don't.
But
We're doing that prematurely, though.
But realistically, how long can people? Yeah, you have a lot of people that still furloughed, a lot of people that have been laid off. But how long can people, like you said, keep going back to work? And people really still continue to go out on a daily basis and protest?
I think that they still should. I feel like all the people who came before us had to persevere, sacrifice their livelihood, their money, whatever. I feel like we can still make that sacrifice if we really want the change that they were able to make for us. I feel like we should do it. I don't know if people want to miss out on their money, but I mean, because that's the only thing.
People been missing out their money because of COVID-19.
Right, like we already, life is already not okay in the first place. So just keep going out there.
And I actually agree with that, because at first I was like, yeah, we're gonna get to a point where everybody's working that has a job still. And then it's going to be like, hey, and unemployed people, get up and go protest because we got to make money.
But then too, COVID-19 numbers are spiking. But that have something to do with it?
No.
The people at the protests I've seen have been masked up.
People were going to the beach.
Saying COVID-19 spiking has way more to do with states reopening. States never having properly shut down the way they should have. Georgia. Texas, Florida, et cetera, et cetera.
The wildest states.
And Florida's doing Will Chamberlain numbers.
Yeah,
like going crazy right now.
LeBron 6 right now.
Yeah.
We have a comment on
what I don't like is that we're like for the Breonna Taylor, like we're starting to make her a movie. I don't
like that.
With as everything that happens, like with the internet, it becomes an internet thing. So like,
internet.
That's what I really don't like about this entire thing. Okay, that the internet has such that influence on it that it's like it's making it makes me upset.
And I think as it started out with the Breonna Taylor thing, it started out with good intention, because it started out with like, I want as many people to notice and to know about the situation, all tricking people into it, or a tweet that could go viral and do its numbers to get as much impact. Now I agree. I think it's become very memed.
Like you have females posting, women posting like regular
pictures. Or I've seen like somebody remake a "Make America Great Again" hat into the little "Make America Arrest the Cops" with Breonna Taylor. I don't like that. For what?
You got to retire all that.
Please, we need to go in the trash.
This Miss Yvette Clayton, she commented and said, "I've been with my company for 22 years, and I remember when we had a group discussion as to why they never acknowledge MLK Day and why they can't make it a national holiday. We fought for equal justice and was very important. Now all of a sudden, I received an email stating in 2021 the company will now acknowledge MLK a national holiday. I'm wondering, are they now doing it to all the killings of my African American sisters and brothers, or is it their way of saying we hear you or we feel your pain? What's your take on it?"
My fault. Go ahead.
I was going to start out by saying, like I work for CarMax, and they posted on their little on the little website that all employees can see we acknowledge Juneteenth. But my thing is, if you acknowledge it, then why are we still here at work?
Exactly.
And here's the thing about CarMax. They're all about their money. We're off on 2 holidays.
All companies
Christmas
are all
Eve
about their money.
and Thanksgiving.
So
Everything else-
Eve? Not even Christmas Eve?
No, Christmas Eve and Christmas. I'm sorry.
Oh.
And Thanksgiving. Every other holiday, we're at work.
We give you the day
That's
before. That's
because they are money hungry. All they care about is money, which is cool. But don't say something about you acknowledge it, because no, you don't.
What is acknowledging it if I can't get
If I
off?
still have to come, if I don't get a paid holiday or a paid day off, you're not acknowledging anything.
Well, we gonna have a party now?
Yeah, and then they we had a little huddle after the George a couple of days afterwards, because there are a lot of Caucasians, but there are also a lot of African Black people there. Like everybody that I work with closely is Black. So the operation manager is a white guy. He was talking about we feel your pain, this and the third, but don't talk about politics. And I said, well, wait a minute. How can we talk about
Wait, who said that?
the operations manager? Like, respect people's opinions, but don't talk about politics. And I was like, well, don't you think police brutality can turn into a political issue? Because don't you think people's political views will steer their view on police brutality?
As it will.
And he was like, yeah, but. And I was like, well, you said but, so whatever you're about to say is irrelevant.
Yeah.
So
don't get fired.
Oh, no. Well, he said, be honest. So I was being brutally honest, because he was like, do you think I experienced police brutality? And I was like, yeah, but not to the extent a Black man has. Not to the extent that I have.
Right. If it was a white man, I would have been like, no. I don't think a police officer ever raised his voice at you.
But so I say all of that to say, like, I don't really think they acknowledge it. I think they're just trying to say things.
Yeah,
man.
Definitely a lot.
Exactly what I think.
It's so
So you won't consider it as progress?
No. I'm tired of fake progress.
No. Not
real progress is progress.
No. Not the was it nice?
She's been with this company for 22 years.
No, remember
This is MLK Day. First of all, I thought that was already a national holiday.
Right, it is, but we don't get off. Exactly. That is my coworker. We do not get off.
That's the point.
Day as a PTO day, or you. I would have worked MLK Day all these years.
So
that's wild.
So
that's the point.
The point.
But I refuse to work on Juneteenth.
The point being made is that that's not progress.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, okay, so like in New York,
They always had the
Governor Cuomo made Juneteenth a paid holiday.
That's what they
That's
used to do.
progress.
That was
Across
that. Do you
America.
consider that progress?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
So
to play devil's advocate, he only did it because of the recent events that occurred.
Yes.
always had the
but of
power.
course,
If Juneteenth was always recognized as the day that slavery was abolished, why hasn't it been a national paid holiday before George Floyd was murdered?
And I didn't even want to apparently. MLK Day is on every calendar we can everywhere.
Exactly my point.
I thought only 5 minutes hospitals was open on MLK Day.
To me,
you remember when you was in high school and you could go to the MLK Day parade and you could leave the
Yeah, but I did that out of choice. That's volunteer.
But remember, I always had to have somebody with you because I had to work. Yes, you always went with somebody else.
Hey man, we need to unpack this greater. MLK Day been in existence for how long now?
You don't get it off.
I do not.
You don't get it off.
off.
But here's my point was in saying all of that is, to me, that's just like a be quiet.
And this literally what it is.
Yes, I agree with you that it's a here be quiet, because it's definitely a consequence of what's happening. But I think that if what you're doing is an actual step towards progression, which like Governor Cuomo making it a paid day off holiday in the state of New York, that's an actual step towards something, because now as Black people, we can get paid and celebrate our Blackness on that day. Versus, I don't know, I don't want to out your company because you still work there, but versus my mom and Miss Yvette's company that they work for all of these eons.
Yeah, I was y'all with this
just now even saying they acknowledge MLK Day, like they had permission to not acknowledge it. Like, that's not progress to me. That's a real here, shut up. And that's phony. I mean,
but it's because of everything that's going on. That's her question.
No,
it is because
it's 100% because of what's everything going on. I just also will not count. I'm not counting like a free sticker at Jamba Juice as like progress.
Why did it take so long?
Like, give me unlimited Jamba Juice.
She said she's been there for 22 years because they didn't care. They still know how many black people have died at the hands of police for 22 years. I don't, but I'm sure
the numbers probably
it's
probably a jump.
And now all of a sudden in 2020, they see black people out in droves, not just black people, but people of all color out in droves in the street protesting. They're like, oh snap.
We don't say something.
Yeah, we gonna get in trouble.
But you know what? Not only do I think that's a consequence.
They didn't give you Juneteenth, they gave you MLK Day.
Because they behind, they can't recognize Juneteenth. They ain't even recognize it.
Listen, I got one of them same emails that she was talking about how they was going to recognize Juneteenth.
What does that even mean?
They're gonna send us, I don't know if it was a webinar or whatever have you. And I was like, I'm not working on Juneteenth this year. Not this year. I took a PTO, but I had to take a PTO day. Yeah. But I was not going to work because it's just too much going on for me to have to. Even though I was working from home, I wasn't even going to open my computer to do anything for the job on Juneteenth. So I took a PTO day, but I had to use one of my PTO days, which they already cut because we were in furlough. So I lost time because we were. Yes, they cut them because they said we were not accruing it. They said we were furloughed for 2 months. So they said that we didn't accrue time during those 2 months. So they cut. I lost days. I lost 3 days during that time. So I'm already back, but it is what it is, you know. But it's a lot going on. Today, my company sent an email this morning, saying that they were cutting like 3,900 people today. 2 days. That's almost 4K. They were letting go. You would get the notification today, and you was gonna find out, and then you would have to the 30th to work. Yeah.
So like 3 days? That's like literally Tuesday.
Yeah. So and we got the email.
Mad whack.
This is what. But you know who you are. You mad whack. This is all COVID-19 related. You know, they taking a hit financially.
I just know they better not fire too many black.
Well, you know something?
It's 900, bro. It's a lot of black.
We don't know all who's affected, but all day long, none of us knew if we had a job.
That's horrible.
Why would they even send you a precursor to let you know? You might get fired.
Say, hey, look, we firing mad people who might be one of them, who might not. Figure that out.
But I'm the only one in my department who has been back to work. So I'm like, you know, going through this by myself. You know,
they all at home panicking.
Well, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't worried about it because I know God got me either way. I was just pissed at how they did that. Like, you don't send somebody something that time in the morning, and then you gotta wait till the end of the day to find out do you still have a job.
I wish we had a Zoom feature. Zoom in on my face so I can look at
So on top of everything else that people are going through with all of the COVID-19, other people have lost their job. Here we on the brink of going back to work, and then you still losing jobs and still don't know. So it's really, it's still the atmosphere is very combustible still.
Yes.
Very combustible.
And to speak to that, I was going to say that. To speak to your point, Christian, of you saying, you know, how many black people have been killed out of the hand of police in the last 22-something years, I don't think it's just the fact of like, I think a lot of these companies that are now saying things, it's not just also a product of all of, you know, Corona and this level of protesting and everything. I think a huge thing that plays a role in it is something that hasn't existed for all of these others, and it's cancel culture.
I knew you.
Because the internet is unforgiving and undying now. And we can see, so they know 20 years from now, when my kids like, can we go in there? I'll be like, nah. Because in 2020, when they got live, they didn't say nothing. They didn't have no type of accountability towards what we was going through. Now they losing out on second and third generation bread. You know what I mean? And it's probably not just the thought of, oh, the money. I mean, of course, the money's a part of it, but like it's about your image and your brand at this point. And we're in a time where you can define your brand as not supportive of Black people and their plight and their oppression. And that's very difficult. But I'll say that a lot of these companies are in very tough spots from a corporate standpoint, solely from a corporate standpoint of making the most money that they can every single year, because you're forced between choosing between the Black dollar and the racist dollar. And you got to figure out which one you rather have. And a lot of companies is still trying to mull that over, which is why they ain't been no statement and no, because they like, we know the moment we say Black Lives Matter, all that racist money is a lot, because as we said, in case you don't know, a lot of people are racist. So you got already the minority. Exactly. And so you got to make a choice. Now, if your morals is 100, it's not a choice. You're going to stand on what's right. But you know what I mean? But people talking, when it comes to your overhead at the end of the year, people care. Is that more important than your morals? For most of these corporate businesses, the answer is yes. Like, I need to make bread at the end of the day. So that's why I think you're seeing a lot of these smaller gestures, like the things y'all companies are talking about, saying, we recognize this day, but not it, because they also got to toe that line and try and make sure they don't.
Yeah, I work for Black people. Setting up a webinar. I don't want to do that. Give me the day off. If you want reparations, come on with the reparations.
What they said.
Let's look at what Dawn said. Dawn Townsend. She put up a comment. Somebody want to read that?
These companies are funny with the copy and paste emails they sent out about Black Lives Matter since Black people just landed on the plane last week.
You're absolutely right.
Right, Dawn. Right, soul sister. Right. We agree with you.
The funny thing is that it does seem like they are copy and paste.
They are.
Probably is.
Wait,
what? These are so
I know
and not constructed by Black people. That's how you do it.
No, but and then here's the thing. I know what I have a homegirl who's not a manager. She's just a regular employee. That the person, like the man who owns her franchise, came in and I pulled her to the side and was like, "Would you be willing to write a statement on our behalf about everything that's been going on?" She's just a regular employee. I'm not gonna say where she working, but and she was like, "Did you walk in here, see that a Black girl works for you, and then decide to have me speak for you on behalf of the struggles of my people? You want me to draft up something to talk to my people about our struggle that's supposed to be from your point of view?" Come on. She was like, "You don't see the exact racism that you are. You want to put out a statement and you don't even realize, like, that's how thick Stone. That's how thick Stone.
And I know he thought he was.
He was doing a move. He thought he was doing a thing with that one. She was like, "No, I would not write a piece." And he ended up feeding, but I think he had like his niece or somebody. He also wanted to come from a young person's perspective or something like that. And she was going on her Snapchat as she should. That's ridiculous. But that shows you the boldness. The brazen boldness.
They've been bold.
You can be bold when everywhere you go, there's a space for you. You can be that bold. When you live in a nation that is programmed to make room for you, there's never a question if you got a seat at the table. There's not. So of course you can be bold and do something as ridiculous as ask a Black employee, not even in management, just a Black employee, could you write a statement on behalf?
Make it seem like we're not racist.
And that was really get your hands. That was really tell your homeboy I'm good in the hood. Let him know. That was really.
Tell him I've been in the block. Tell him. Wait, I have Black friends. Okay, Queen Wanda said, "I want reparations. Walk the halls of Congress and tell them to cut that damn check."
Please cut that check.
I'm
My
gonna be
only thing is though,
honest.
my holdup is I always think of what about the homeless Black people? If they give out reparations, are they going to give it to homeless people?
They should.
They should, but I don't know if they're counting them in the economy. Even are they like?
Are they part of the census? If they don't have a census thing, they're not
No.
counted.
What happens to them?
If you don't fill out a census, they don't
I'm
count you.
gonna keep it tall. I want reparations. Reparations is probably like the last thing on my list of things, though, because it's the hardest to make happen. Probably. I think it's from a financial standpoint. There's no mathematical number for 400 years of oppression. There's like it's. I don't want to say it's the last thing, but like
it would be unsatisfied with whatever number they come up with. Like,
rightfully so.
It's like this.
Exactly, right.
And
you can't get that to everybody.
the
Because
number,
you literally have a 400-year head start. And so it's like we're
and y'all still not as lit.
Catching up.
Like, despite.
And you stole from us.
but not only it's not even that you just have a 400-year head start. You have a 400-year head start solely off of the backs of our free labor.
Yeah.
Solely. Like, without us, you can't have a 400-year head start. You built a 400-year head start solely off of our backs. So I don't, that's a tough one when it comes to the figures. We agree, absolutely. I want reparations. I also want student loan forgiveness.
Amen.
Yeah,
amen. Wanda said they use us enough. Stop it now.
But another talking point that I really wanted to get to, that I feel like is important for us, you kind of started alluding to it, Ma, earlier with young Elijah and the murder of him that happened last year or 2018?
It was
Last year. I know that personally, I've seen nothing short of, bless you, I've seen nothing short of maybe 30 to 35 stories of someone, a Black person being killed at the hands of police between like probably 2015 or 16 to now, that not only that I didn't hear of, that just were not known. They were didn't make any headlines. These are local stories. The people in these cities know that this happened because they're there, and they never made it past that. And Elijah is one of those examples. And so I know for me, I guess the question that I have is, how do we feel, specifically as Black people and young Black people, when these other stories are being resurfaced and we're realizing how many people we've lost to this, and then because of that, how many people we're fighting in the name of and need to get justice for?
Corrupt the people that are sworn to protect and serve us are.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did it have to be a whole year later before we found out that this actually happened? Why does it have to be a viral video that goes out for us to finally get arrests and indictments on 3 men who murdered, or 2 men that followed and trapped a man that was jogging? Like, why does it have to be that? Why can't we have justice as if it were a Black
The
man?
system fights for us.
Yeah. Like, why is it so hard for Black people to obtain justice when they die at the hands of police?
Well, you saw how when they put charges on the cops that arrested, that killed Rashad Brooks, how the Atlanta police start calling out sick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
APD.
Mm-hmm.
APD roles
sitting in their cars, not answering calls.
Yep.
But I did see something that was pointing out that they're saying that they're like scared to put people over it because they don't want to get in a position where they're going to lose their job. And I'm like, well, at least that means not that many people getting killed.
It's not that hard to not kill a Black person when you
It's not that hard.
It's not hard to not kill anybody.
I've never been trained to be a cop in everything. And I think I could pull off at least one successful stop by myself with no vehicle. Just me stopping a car and getting it to pull over dolo. I think I could get one done. and everything go on perfectly safe. So you should be able to do your job and not brutalize or murder someone. Because the fact of the matter is, this is not very complex situations. These aren't shootouts.
No.
And you know what I mean? You're not
unarmed people.
You're not pulling over kingpins and big bags and a serial killer with chopped up body parts.
Not end of watch.
Right. Like it's not even close to end of watch. Okay.
He's not worried about nothing like exciting.
The best thing you because you look suspicious. Isn't that what they said?
To
who? Elijah.
Yeah, for Elijah. Yeah, yeah.
Stopping you because
they got a suspicious activity call or something like that. And I thought it was him.
Like that just really bothers me. Like, so what?
But also, that leads to another thing is, you know, as the internet so affectionately dubbed these Karens, because a lot of these situations I'm seeing, a lot of these older stories start with someone calling in suspicious activity or someone walking or maneuvering suspiciously. Mm-hmm. And it's 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10. There's nothing suspicious about it.
Dancing?
It's the fact that you see a black person and blackness is suspicious enough for you. So you have to call the authorities and get this figured out because there's a black person on
not even bothering you, but
not doing that.
Like I wonder if the people, like the person that Wendy that called the cops on the car, mm-hmm. He was in it, it was blocked in it, and people had to go around them. So I guess I kind of get it because she said that she went out to knock on the window and she was asleep. I wonder if that person feels bad that he ended up getting killed.
Who wouldn't?
Right.
It's not their fault. It's not their fault that happened.
But
it's like, oh my God, I called and this is what.
But that's what exactly the point we were talking about. Because there should be someone you can call in that situation that's not the police. Because the police are pulling up to these situations, handling them terribly. I'm seeing so many reports of people who are having mental illness like episodes, and the police show up and just put holes in them. The police just treating bullets like Oprah treated cars in 2004 and just giving them to everybody they come across. Like
literally to the show you get them.
Like you get a 10 piece. You get a 10 piece. You get a 10, and they're emptying the clip.
Emptying it. And then reloading.
Like
it's a free.
And it's completely ridiculous. The same situation, oh no, not the same situation. A different situation. I was reading about this man didn't get killed, but they broke his wrist. He was walking from a Walgreens, because he just Western Union. Yeah, in Valdosta. And the cop came. He was he was talking to the cop or whatever, but it was a suspicious activity. It ended up being a whole other person. The cop's having an interaction with them. Here comes another cop, and he don't come up asking no questions. He don't do no hands. He just grabs, body slams. They proceed to break his wrist and do some whole other stuff, just for at the end be like, "Oh, you said it was somebody else." I told you it was somebody else.
I'm so confused. Like, I'm sure he was confused.
You talking about the guy that was going to Western Union?
Yes.
Oh man, that was not right.
And now
he was like, "Don't check the camera."
Like he told you
what I was doing.
He told you. When he was like, "Call my sister, do XYZ." I'm not your man.
Yeah.
And then took you beating him up and breaking his wrist to finally listen to those same words he said when you first pulled up.
But wait, what do 3 and 4 huge cops throw all of their weight on top of a person and then tell you to relax?
Exactly.
How am I supposed to relax? You're choking me. You got your arm around my neck, or your knee in my neck, or you got all of your body's weight on top of me, and you're telling me, flip over, do this, do that. Everybody's calling out different instructions at the same time. Nobody knows what the heck is going on, but yet this is supposed to be protect and serve. This is supposed to be justice. This is supposed to be something that us as a black people are not supposed to be upset about. because now they have the hate crime. The guy in Gwinnett that was walking the walk that he walks every day a mile from his house to go to a store. He's walking mind his business, and a red car pulls up, some white dude throws a brick at this dude. He's got to get surgery and everything. They messed up knocked out his teeth, took a part of his lip off, knocked him clean out. He fell back on the street. He could have busted his head. I mean,
you come around this way.
the whole thing is not just the cops, but like we were talking about the Karen. I mean, people just feel so empowered that they can just do anything that they want to us.
And
you're not supposed to fight back.
No, it's not that they feel empowered. It's that they know what happens to us.
Yes.
That's what it is. They know that they can use it to their benefit. Yes. You see all these videos of these women acting. These white women literally are acting.
Saying that they're being attacked.
Saying that they're being
attacked. But you're on video not being attacked.
Academy Awards.
Thank goodness we have video nowadays because people lost their lives that way. White women were White women were the staple. Like they were the most. They're like the biggest dragons on earth, man. They're sirens. They sing those little songs to get you in. But it's weird. Not all white women, of course, but there are very evil women out there. And women, I'm not gonna lie, y'all know y'all do everything better than men. So when it comes to bad stuff, y'all do that better too. And you feel me? Like I've had the police call on me when I was walking in my neighborhood that I've lived in for 20 years. Bro, the cop pulls up, rolls his window down. He says, "Hi, son, do you live in here?" I said, "Yes." And I was like, "You can talk if you want to talk to my dad. He's right there," because I was on an area where you could see my house. I was like, "He's here, so you can go talk to him if you want to." He was like, "No, I don't have to. It's okay. Somebody just called and said that you were looking at grass or something like that. So I'm sorry, but they called, so I came."
Forbid you devo some grass off.
No, it's fun. We could look back at it and laugh now.
Exactly.
Bro, I'm so exactly. You know the crazy part is, my dad wasn't home, and I didn't know that. He took somebody else's car, but the car that he drives today is sitting out there. So what if that cop would have been like, "All right, take me to your house," and I go inside, even if I have a key, and I'm like, "Dad, where you at?" "Oh, I guess he left." But now I still just broke into this house. Even if I have a key, it doesn't matter. Like, they're not trained to de-escalate situations. They're not trained to negotiate. They're not trained to think about, you know what I'm saying, what can happen. Bro, like, and I really want to know who was looking outside of their window.
Papa said not the grass.
Just watching,
not the grass.
Because I didn't do nothing. Like,
looking at grass.
all of this is literally, I don't remember.
It's got a nigga in going that day. Not on my watch.
Somebody look at this.
But you're right, Christian. Like, this is a situation we can look back on, but like, bro, these are the beginnings to these terrible sagas of people being assassinated. And I think that's scariest about it.
I got lucky.
Exactly. Is that every time we in one of them situations, we have to pray for the stars to align and everything to go right for us to make it out the other side.
I just gotta pray that the right person is
ridiculous. It don't take you doing nothing grand or nothing wonderful. It can be as simple as existing.
Walking while black.
That's the only crime you got to commit. Because you got situations where sometimes, like, thank God that cop spoke to you. Sometimes they're not even in the mood for syllables. They just pull up and they just pull up, stick out in your face, giving you all types of instructions. I don't know you.
I literally have been in that situation. Me and my friends were like, hey, not my friends, somebody to come out of their house, and the way that they live in a cul-de-sac, and there's houses on one half of the cul-de-sac, but not on the other half. So I'm parked on the other half, waiting for them to come outside. And we were sitting here for no more than 2 minutes. The girl turns around and said, "Is that 12?" And For those of you who don't know, 12 is the term that young people use to describe the police. We don't have time to say there's the police and then run is 12. No. Me too. But all I know is when I turned around, this man had his gun out, was pointing it at both of us, and was yelling. The first thing I see is a person pointing their gun at me and screaming. And so I do everything he says. I put my hands on the wheel. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, yo, this is what's going on. He finally walks up to the window, looks at us, and changes his whole demeanor. He puts his gun away and was like, so there's been a few reports about robberies going on, and somebody said your description. I just want to let you know it's not a place you need to hang out. So and then walks away. What? Person's about to kill me. So you had to kill me 5 minutes ago. First? Like, what? You pulled up ready to blast me. And what I don't know. I don't even remember what I said to him because I know I wasn't speaking clearly. I was terrified. There was a gun being pointed in my face. But that's like it's so weird to me because who called them and told them, okay, there's a car sitting here with 2 black kids in it. That's the only description you could give because we was listening to music. We were listening to Future. I remember which tape it was. It was Monster because it was around that time. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, driving back. I'm like scared. I'm calling all my friends like, yo, can I pull up to your crib, bro? I just need somewhere to go. I can't stay. Like, it was traumatizing.
But back to the Elijah thing, I think that situation is very unique. When the paramedics pulled up,
yeah, what is that? Apparently enough ketamine
to kill somebody who weighed 220 pounds.
Right. Knock out.
And so
what is ketamine?
It's a sedative, right?
Yeah, I believe it.
I'm like, you're not supposed to just give unwarranted shots out in the middle of
It's
nowhere.
a medication mainly used for starting and maintaining anesthesia. It induces a trance-like state while providing pain relief, sedation, and memory loss. And so
that's stuff you got.
And why did they do that?
Because, well, the only reason someone should be pulling up on the scene giving someone ketamine is to make them docile. Because they're uncontrollable.
And apparently the DA has defended their decision not to charge the Aurora police in the death of Elijah McClain.
Where are they? Where in Aurora, Colorado?
Yeah. And apparently he was anemic, which is why he had on so many clothes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
There was an addition.
There was no criminal wrongdoing by Aurora police officers.
That's a lie.
But that's the thing. That's why.
So what is their reasoning for killing him? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. If they think it's justified.
Police don't actually need a reason, right?
But I mean, they should need a reason. But
they should.
In the world we live in, they don't need one. But even grander, the issue is that when these cases go in front of these judges, who majority of the time is just as bad, if not worse.
They
don't need to they don't have to look at in the way that they with a crime, right? This person murdered this person. We have to evaluate the murder. Right. With police, they don't do that. They evaluate the actions.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can warrant the action, even if the action is directly responsible for the death, if they can find a way to twist and warrant the action, then it's all good. Now, of course, sometimes they warrant it even when it still ain't right from a legal basis. But that's exactly why we're saying it's not just the police. The entire system is needs changing. Like the criminal justice system, the way it's set up, is built for these types of situations to occur, for the police to be able to kill us, and then stand in front of a judge if it even goes that far. Majority of the time, it's like go home for the week until the wife forgets. Yeah. And then it's come back. If it even gets as far as indictment and you're in front of a judge, then the judge can just be like, "You're good." And now you're back out.
You just said, I saw something that talked about how what's his name, Chauvin. That's the main guy. So his wife divorced him, right? But it wasn't because she just had an epiphany, realized something. Her husband was a monster. Yeah. What it was, so they could protect their assets. So basically, they divorced. She takes everything. So when he stands in front of the judge asks him something about his assets, he says, "I have no assets." And he's like, I don't know why that does something, but it does something. So that way, whenever he serves his time and gets out, he can have all his money, all his stuff, there's nothing that'll be taken.
But the simple fact that we can say the sentence, does his time and comes out, is wild.
Right.
If like
If
but,
it does
but like that's another thing. Like with all of these situations, I have already programmed my brain to not want life sentences.
Yeah,
like
they're not gonna get that.
Yeah.
I just want them to be convicted and really serve time.
Yeah.
These people should be going away forever.
Right.
I got people inside that ain't never coming out for less.
What, bro? There's most
they
of
should
these
be
cops that end up in these situations have track records. Like literal Chava was getting IA like a week ago. Woo! Oh, not him. That was the people in Atlanta who pulled the kids out the car. A lot of them were like had just finished training and stuff like that.
But the cops that did that to Rashad, they had bad track records too.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's a commonality. Like if they end up doing it, they've done it before. You know what I'm saying? Like especially it's not known. Like you know who at your job who's bad at doing their job.
Yes.
Like it's not, and you know which ones like skate by doing. You know what I'm saying? You know who's who.
But my question is, and I don't know if any of us can really answer because none of us are cops, but is killing people unarmed that like should not be killed even considered being a bad cop?
Probably not to them.
I doubt to them.
To
them, it's almost like a notch.
Well, the thing is
on
today
their
is that
belt.
if you feel scared for your life, you know.
That's what they. But that's just what they say.
That's why you can't make no sudden movements and stuff because they can be like, "I fear for my life." You were resisting.
But that doesn't mean there's no thing you can do to erase them. That the purpose of like a cop being like, I acted in deadly force because I feared for my life. It's supposed to be in situations when their life is being legitimately threatened. Mm-hmm. To be honest, it's for shootouts. And like maybe a crazy dude with a big knife. Maybe. That like it's not for these situations. If you are an officer of the law and I'm unarmed, you should not be fearing for your life.
But the thing is, they jump on the scene with the guns drawn. Like they show up.
But and that's
what they're responding to.
And that's exactly my point. That's exactly why I'm saying that I fear for my life.
Because a lot of times it depends on the call. Because like I said, you know, there's people who act and they say they're exaggerating. Oh, I'm in danger, but they're not truly in danger. They show up with a different pretense. So I do understand that. You know what I'm saying? That communication down the line can't mess up.
Another thing I learned too, in regards to these calls that are coming in, is another like coded thing that a lot of these people that will do with situations when it comes to people with suspicious activity when they're not having an actual interaction with them, is they'll say something like, I don't know if they're armed or they could be armed. So now when I'm getting the code, right, I'm getting the code for a potentially armed suspicious person versus the code for just somebody suspicious activity. Yeah. Now I'm pulling up like, okay, it could get easily.
Right.
Let me have, you know, the holster open, safety off, let me get ready in case. And then you pull up and this little Elijah just dancing to the music and walking, trying to get home. And these situations escalate and don't even need to escalate. They coming in with the situation on 10. So it's not even, and that's another thing we talked about. We saying like they're not trained in de-escalating. Well, not even being trained in de-escalating, they are escalating.
Exactly.
That like they are the prime people escalating matters to a violent arena.
That's really then all of those people in government are in cahoots because apparently they couldn't specifically find the cause of Elijah's death.
You want to know something crazy? Cops aren't required to know the law. Like, I think they are to an extent, but not like
to pass the test.
Yeah, but not like lawyers. Like they don't need to know the law, but they should. Shouldn't they?
Especially if they're gonna enforce it.
Yeah, like come on, yo. You should. And I feel like the UK has a good idea of how police should be. Police shouldn't have weapons. They should call people to bring weapons because that's what the police in the UK do. If something's like going down, yeah, and I understand that. But like for us, we are too far off. Facts, big facts. And that's another thing. That's why I'm kind of like, I'm not against taking guns away, but like they will riot. Yeah, it's like it's just gonna be.
We was rioting, they will riot.
Well, I mean, we saw them riot over being told to wear masks.
And you can't get haircuts.
You see what they did? They pulled up.
They don't even get
Sticks.
They pulled up with bazookas at the subway.
I mean, like in the registrar birth situation, they talked to that man for 20 whole minutes.
Yeah.
He gave them multiple outs. I will park my car here. You can drive me home. I will walk home to my sister's house. She's right down the street. I have a daughter. I have a mother. I have all these things. And they basically got to know his entire life, and they still killed him.
Yep.
That's all they want to do. And they're saying they fear for his life, but all he had was a taser. To shoot the taser again, you got to roll that thing back up and reset it. He was not going to die. The taser didn't even hit the police officer.
And even beyond that, that just, for me, I feel like that in itself shows the lack of even attempt. I feel like if like the system, right, was smart, they would like even try to make it seem like they're hearing us out.
Right.
They don't even care. They're blatant and bold. Breonna Taylor was killed in her sleep. There's not much. I don't care how many documents you feel like you got to go through, bro. There's not too much that can make killing someone who is asleep, who you was already in the wrong apartment. So you already have GP messing up. Then you kill someone in their sleep. It's impossible for you to put something in front of me that makes it hard for me to at least come up with charge and arrest. At the very least, one's been fired, the rest ain't even nothing. They still work. They don't care. The system don't even care. It is brazen and it is bold. It is racist. And it's just built like this. Like it's built and destined and determined to be this way. And to speak to the point you made earlier, Ashton, like we are attacking this from so many different angles. So many people are on the, we can protest, we can boycott, we can do it, but we gotta vote. Bro, the voter suppression is real. We live in a state where the governor basically on every level has been proven to be right there being active in voter suppression. And he's still the governor.
Yes, with the guns.
He was sticked up, ready to go to round up some illegals.
Yeah,
He was ready.
I was watching because like it comes on like 3:00 in the morning, so I'm like, what is this? And then it's explosions.
That entrepreneur hour.
I'm like, yo, this can't be. And then I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, actually, outside of Metro Atlanta, everybody.
And that's exactly who it is. And that's
why
why
comes out to vote.
And that's what I was telling people, like, from 2016, I was like, with the election with Trump, Hillary, I was like, I'm gonna let y'all know, I live in Georgia. This state gonna pop up red no matter what.
No matter what.
I've never voted because I just feel like voting doesn't work. But I'm like, even gonna change that. I've said, even though I still believe the same way that I believe about voting, there's nothing to sacrifice the day to go and be at the poll. So I'm going to vote moving forward. But I'm not voting expecting my voting to work. Because these situations, like, it's so intentional. You look at people saying, I live in this area that is predominantly white. I was in and out. Yeah. And you see these people who live in these areas that are predominantly black for hours. They just had the video. I can't remember what state it was, but they just had a video up on Twitter going viral of people banging on the door, trying to get in for their primary.
Yeah.
Banging on the door. And then I saw somebody tweet that there was a whole county that had one poll location.
Yeah, they did a lot of dirty stuff.
I just had a friend, we were just talking about nothing, but she asked me, she just asked the question, why don't they make voting electronic through our phones? And I said it's on purpose. If everybody had access, everybody has a phone. Mm-hmm. Homeless people have phones.
Yep, true.
And if we could all vote, their stuff would be over. It would be over for them. I was like, they're not going to give us that. It's 2020. They could do it in a heartbeat. They just send out all these stimulus checks. We can check our status of the check in 2 seconds.
Yep.
But we can't vote online. It's on purpose. Don't think that it's not because they can't do it. They just won't.
Because and there's too many amazing technological advancements to be able to say that you couldn't come up with a system where we could all vote virtually that doesn't allow people who aren't allowed to vote. Because I've seen somebody make the argument, well, what about like convicts or this, that, and third? You can easily create a system where even if people got to enter their social or something, like you could create something that can verify you are allowed to vote. Here's what your polls, you can vote. But it's exactly like you said, like it's power. It's systematic. It's
they
not,
know what that would do for them.
Exactly. And I think what that proves is that they're aware of the power of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the number one, job for them is to make us feel like we don't have the power. Then once we get to a point where that job, like that's no longer a viable option, it's to use every underhanded method that they have to strip our power.
Mm-hmm.
Because I look at that, like the fact that we can't vote virtually now, the same way I look at when I learned about the grandfather clause, like in history. Like this is in place to prohibit people from being able to use their civil right of voting and being able to actually have the power as a people. It's not for any other reason but a tactic of oppression.
I know we get coming close to our ending our podcast, so I just wanted to bring up the hate bill 426 that has passed and it's supposed to be awaiting further legislation. But if the bill has passed, people like just sign the bill and pass, just let it go because that's a bill that's needed in Georgia. I believe it's House Bill 426.
Can you explain that?
Well, the hate bill deals with people who do hate crimes. Mm-hmm. So being able to have people prosecuted who actually commit crimes based on hate.
I thought that would already be a thing.
Well,
not in Georgia.
Well, here's the thing, right?
Here's
the thing. It's not in Georgia, but also we're seeing a lot of places do a lot of we're making rules that were already rules. Like in New York, Governor Cuomo made, I don't know if it was an executive order or if he's they're putting it in as like a law. But basically it is 100% banning chokeholds in the NYPD. But the NYPD
they already banned them.
Is already banned chokeholds. They're still chokeholding people. They just chokeholded a dude last week. So mind you, and then we got another incident that happened where they was using chokeholds, I believe, but I could be wrong. And the dude was saying how you can't breathe, and it was like, that don't work here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was Louisiana.
Oh, Louisiana. So I say all that to say, like, it's good. Like, I'm happy about the hate crimes bill. The same way I was happy when the FBI said they was, opening their own case into Breonna Taylor's murder. Same way I was happy when I saw them, arrest the 4 officers who killed George Floyd, now 2 out on bail. Like, we get happy to see these progresses, but a lot of these progresses, like, are looking shallow to me. You know what I mean? It's either very temporary or it's, here, take this and be quiet, or it's them making a rule that was already a rule. At that, like, if chokeholds are already banned, I don't need.
Actually, it was approved the hate crime bill that will allow enhanced criminal penalties for people who target others because of their race, gender, sexual orientation,
already not enhanced in the first place.
All I know
is
regular.
Like, exactly.
All I know is they have a way. They want to keep that way because that way is them paid. And they want to keep everybody, in the dark about the actual truth of everything. Whatever you could imagine. It's probably not what they told you. Guarantee you that. We all believe in, the Lord Savior Jesus Christ. And
I don't think they do. I just don't. I just the way that our life is, the way that the world is set up, it just makes it seem like they are serving a different master than all of us.
They are doing
And
the opposite.
all I know is there's only two masters out there. If you ain't serving one, you're serving the other. So the system that we are currently up under is something that is that of the master. So you feel me? These are the byproducts. Death. That's the division. Death. And just injustice. Everything that rings true with his name. I ain't even gonna say.
This is what I feel great about this episode. How about y'all?
Yeah, we back in the stool.
Yeah.
And
we
just
definitely
stand
need a
up and show
fan.
the back of that drip, so
Absolutely.
people can see what's on the back of that shirt.
Straight back, yeah.
Yeah, it says our youth. Move your hair. It says our youth. It takes a village. Our is outstanding, unique, and refined. That's who our youth are, and that's who I'm sitting with today. And I want to thank this team, the YSO team. I love these guys, and I want to thank them for being here tonight. And they wanted to get back in the studio so we could be able to do this, in live and in real. I mean, we normally do audio in the studio, but since we had added this live stream component, we wanted to try to work it out. We had a few kinks we needed to work out, some logistical things. That's why we came on like about 5 minutes. We scheduled this for 5 minutes a little later, just so we could finish working out those kinks. But we're back, live in effect, got our drip. Hit us up and let us know that you want to order a t-shirt. Hit us up and let us know that you want to order a t-shirt. And we will definitely be grateful for the support. You'll be supporting the work. There's a lot more things that we want to add to what we're doing. We're fundraising, so help us with that. Yeah, we got to get some ring lights because we need some more light up in here. There's a whole lot of things we got to get. So cash out. We can set one up. We gonna set up.
You can just send it to me and I'll distribute it.
Well, for paying the purchase has a PayPal. But we're gonna set up on YSO podcast cash app. So so you can actually purchase the t-shirts and support. And you can also send us donations to help with the work that we're doing. You see the work, you see what we're doing. We try to bring you good information, not just a bunch of opinions, but some educated information, and also the passion and the intensity of how their voices and what they're feeling in the heat of the moment. I mean, we go in 2 weeks just because we have to, do the editing and all that kind of stuff. But within 2 weeks, things is happening. It's like, dang, we almost need to be coming back to back. That's just how bad things are going on. Before, right after our last episode, the next day, Rashard Brooks was killed. Then this week, Elijah McClain is being brought to light, even though it was last year. It's just constantly things happening. So continue to hang in with us. Continue to share, please. Share the broadcast. Do watch parties. Do watch parties after the broadcast is over. I'm talking to this one, I should be talking over there.
That's what we was laughing about.
I know I'm bugging. I'm so used to talking to my own computer, but the camera's over there, y'all. Anywho, I'm gonna turn it over to the team, closing remarks, and we're gonna be out. Thank you for joining.
Stay away from white people.
No, come on.
I have white friends, and not in the sense that racist. I do have white friends that are like, they're just not racist.
And we want to say we know that all police are not bad.
Shout out to
disclaimer out there.
I don't know if I'm
talking about the ones who are.
I said not all white
they
people, but I don't know about them.
Cops and
I only know one detective and one of my friends is in the police academy, but I know he's joining the police to like help kids that was like us. And he was a knucklehead, just like I was. So I'm happy knowing that there's gonna be somebody out there that like if they pull some kids over and they doing something, they like, look, I was like that. I saw what it could do to people. Stop it. Now get out of here. That's what I wanted to be. And I know
Police is gonna be like, Yeah, but you're the feds. I'm gonna follow your path.
That lady says she's really enjoying the YSO podcast. I will be purchasing my shirt.
Thank you, Jeanette.
Thank you, girl. Yes.
Your mama, your
All right, let's give them our socials, and then like my mom said, closing remarks, and we're gonna.
Well, now that we're back in studio, we're all here. So we're just gonna do it like this. You see this? Follow that guy.
You gotta go ahead.
Yeah, follow that guy.
I think I'm on
Instagram @_CB03, Twitter is it Coach_Bunch03? Yes,
You say that each time.
Yeah, I
You
got
say is it and then
You
start
made
it,
it.
and you've never gotten it wrong.
Really?
Yes.
It's because it's so many underscores. And then Facebook is my first and last name, Christian Meyer.
on Instagram and Twitter.
No, they just lied and said somebody else.
That's worse.
That's crazy. Mid broadcast too, by the way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Imagine that. You would have had to go in an hour.
Exactly. You can see my this right here, Instagram and Twitter, both of them. I don't really get on Facebook, but you can add me over this way. Yeah, here. Thank you.
Hey, hold on. What else you got to promo?
Quarantines.
If you guys want to go listen to that, go listen to that.
All right.
Um,
Support the independent artists.
Quarantines.
And he's not trash like your friend.
He's not.
There's a lot of whack.
It's a lot of truth in these verses. Especially track 7, Live Your Life.
You guys can follow me on Instagram @Ashton Gates and also on Twitter @AshGetTheNews.
Yeah.
Follow me on Facebook at Amber Ann Lyons, on Instagram @NzingaL, NZINGHAL. From Pain to Purpose on Instagram, From Pain to Purpose on Facebook, our Healing Pain Through the Arts group page on Facebook, our From Pain to Purpose Incorporated, INC YouTube channel. Please go ring that bell. Thank you. We're live on YouTube right now. Please ring that bell. And follow us and check us out.
Swear, and you already know what it is. You can find me on Instagram @Lions_Emmanuel_ and also @TheEvenSaint. Facebook Saint Even, Twitter RIP Lions, YouTube Saint Even, all of the places you can stream or listen to music Saint Even. And shout out my nephew. He turned 10 on Monday.
Yes.
Subscribe to his YouTube, Eli Tor Roblox. LITORROBLOX. Eli Tor Roblox. Go subscribe to his YouTube. Very family friendly. He just put up a fire video of his turtle Tico. And that we've been live back in studio with the merch. Like we said, great, episode and a great time to be back together in the fellowship and have in the talks. Word I learned at university. This has been the YSO podcast. You Speak Out podcast, a podcast by the youth for the youth. That is the voice of the youth. This is America Part 2. We will see you again in 2 weeks live on Facebook and YouTube at approximately 7 p.m. on Thursday. That's the slot. You already know what it is. Thank you for tuning in. Much love. Stay safe. We out.
FYP Production.
She fell in love with the bad guy, but she loves my intentions. And nothing feels better than the moment we're sinning. No, nothing feels better than the moment we're kissing. I say I'll love her for forever, in the morning forget her. She was raised under money, growing up she couldn't see the poor. Save my number in her phone under me or more. Look me in my eyes and ask what I need her for. So in this game of life, she just might keep a score. and darkness is clouding my judgment. Marijuana clouds cause the loud is so pungent. But me, I haven't touched a drug since that trait of white. I live my life before the fight like I'm Dana White. The block is hot like that boy band with Nick Lachey. Hold my heart in your hands like a Fabergé. Precious. We was young, dumb, and reckless, living like the devil couldn't catch us. Life